You've been searching for the best way to generate passive income in your life and heard that real estate is a great way to do it. But you're tired of all the so-called gurus who are all talk and no substance. Get ready to celebrate because Kevin Bupp has spent 14 years successfully making it happen. This is the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow podcast. Now, here's Kevin Bupp.
Hey guys, Kevin Bupp here, and I want to welcome you to another episode of the Real Estate Investing for Cash Flow podcast. Our mission is to help you build and maintain massive amounts of cash flow through income-producing real estate investments. Now, in this week's show, we're going to be speaking with Derek Phillips, who holds a position of Business Development Manager at Bixby. Bixby is a real estate app that has developed into a cloud-based set of tools and services that enable property management teams around the world to provide tenants and residents with a more connected, efficient, and sustainable building experience. Now, guys, I'll tell you, after spending some time conducting research on this app and on their website and talking to Derek myself, I can see how this tool would actually streamline your property management business and create massive efficiencies in areas where the most common inefficiencies exist. Areas such as maintenance requests, rent payments, etc. And in addition, there are many features that will help you capitalize on additional ancillary services such as maybe dry cleaning or housekeeping. And there's a litany of others as well that we'll discuss here today. And at the end of the day, I personally feel that apps such as Bixby will allow you to create the ultimate tenant experience, thus providing you with a much higher tenant retention rate, right? We want our folks, we want our renters staying longer, and that tenant retention rate will greatly increase with a better customer experience that you can provide these residents. And so I'm very excited to get onto the show with Derek. But before we do, I have a few housekeeping items I want to run through with you guys. As I've mentioned in the last couple of shows, we're currently in acquisition mode here at Sunrise Capital Investors. As you guys know, we are in the manufactured housing space, and we are looking to acquire communities across the country. We're currently in 13 states today and are looking to expand that. So if while you're out there on your hunt looking for whatever types of properties you might be seeking, whether it's apartment complexes or shopping centers or self-storage or assisted living, the list goes on and on. I know a lot of you guys are in different niches, might not be focused on manufactured housing, but I know that during your searches, you'll probably stumble across a few opportunities. And so I would like you to think of us. We love paying big finder's fees. And we also like joint venture opportunities. So if you find something that you ultimately maybe want to take down on your own, but you don't have the capital or the track record or the team behind you, we're interested in those types of opportunities as well. Ideally, the community would be 80 lots in size or larger. And again, we're very open to pretty much any state with the exception of probably California and maybe Massachusetts, but I don't want to exclude anything. Really we like tenant-friendly states. Typically, Massachusetts and California are not tenant-friendly, but there are a few counties within those two states that we would ultimately consider buying an investment in. And so with that, please go to my website, kevinbupp.com, the contact me page on that website, and send me some information about the opportunity, and we'll look forward to setting up time to chat with you. Next up, we just opened up the second tranche in our Mobile Home Park Growth and Income Fund. And so if you're an accredited investor looking for more of a passive opportunity and you're interested in partnering with us on our deals here, please visit our secure investor portal by going to invest.sunrisecapitalinvestors.com. There you can access our PPM and also our investment summary, also some of the webinars we've done in the past that will give you some better insights as to our company, our team, and ultimately what kind of deals we're doing over here at Sunrise Capital Investors. And then lastly, guys, if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay area and you got some free time on your hands during your visit, please reach out to me. Let me know. I'd love to coordinate a time to grab coffee or lunch or dinner, whatever it might be. I've met hundreds of you over the last 4 or 5 years. I always look forward to spending time with folks that share a similar passion to mine, in real estate investing. It doesn't matter if you're in the manufactured housing space or not. If you enjoy real estate investing, you like talking shop, and again, you're in town, you've got some extra time, think of me. I'll treat you to, again, lunch or coffee or beer, whatever you might have time for. Our office is only about 20 minutes away from the Tampa International Airport. So it's a very quick jaunt, and we've got a pretty cool location where we're based out of here. So we can go meet up with each other, and you can reach out to me through my website, again, kevinbupp.com, and the contact me page on there, and let me know when you're coming, and I'll see if we can coordinate our schedules together. So guys, without further ado, I'd like to welcome our guest for today's show now, and that's Derek Phillips from Bixby. Derek, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Looking forward to having you here and a better understanding a little bit about the company, the app, and ultimately, the experience that you guys are providing to both multifamily and commercial property owners across the country. And so maybe if we would, Derek, for those folks that aren't familiar with Bixby and kind of the platform that you guys have built there, maybe take a few minutes and just kind of give us the background story of the product itself or the service itself, but also kind of the why behind it, the challenges you guys saw in the marketplace and ultimately look to solve with Bixby.
Absolutely. So Bixby is a property management and building amenity platform. Really, the idea is that anything your residents need to be able to do in their home, they should be able to do in one place. And so that extends from, the blocking and tackling, as we call it, of property management. So submitting a maintenance request, paying their rent, getting in touch with the manager or vice versa, the manager getting in touch with the resident, but also to a suite of sort of virtual amenity features. So we have, for instance, partners that will fulfill everything from dry cleaning to housekeeping to renter's insurance, all at a discount to your residents. In addition, if there are any amenities that need to be reserved at the property, they can be reserved through Bixby. If there are any events going on in the area, they can see those. So we really see Bixby positioned as both an operational tool, but also sort of a resident experience virtual amenity tool. Mm-hmm. And Bixby was founded about 3 years ago. One of our co-founders was taking over property management at a firm called Empire Management in New York City and was really looking to bring his operations into the 21st century. They were only taking paper checks. He was looking up email addresses and filing cabinets. He really needed to increase that efficiency. And when he and our other co-founder, Mark, our current CEO, looked around the market, what they saw was, at the time, there were very few app-based tools, which they thought was going to be an important differentiator. And often the interfaces were relatively dated, a little bit clunky, and we thought that would undermine the efficacy of the platform. If it was hard to use, people weren't going to use it. They were still going to pick up the phone and call you. And so in 2016, the platform was built out really as an efficiency tool. Rent payments, maintenance requests, messaging. And from there, working closely with a number of clients, we built out what we consider to be the most robust resident portal on the market and really extended into more of that virtual amenity space.
Okay, got it. And I'm assuming that this, Bixby integrates fairly well with all the major property management software platforms that are out there. Yardi being one of the really big ones. The multifamily space, I don't know all the other big players. Yardi comes to mind, but ultimately, I'm assuming Bixby, does that integrate with the property management software itself?
Exactly right. So we are the resident-facing piece of a software platform. And so what that means is that we need to integrate with the accounting. We don't want to create additional work for any management team. We want to make their lives easier. And so we integrate with sort of the major players, Yardi, MRI, RealPage, along with folks like Rent Manager and some smaller people as well. We have found that we can create batch systems. So if you're not using one of those sort of major players, there are some workarounds that can make sure that any operational stuff is as efficient as possible.
Got it. And right now, what are the different asset classes that you guys working with? I know multifamily is the main one, and you had mentioned also about 10% of your current client base is commercial real estate. But more specifically, can Bixby be basically rolled out amongst any commercial asset type? Like, for example, we're manufactured housing. We use Rent Manager. You just mentioned Rent Manager as one of the providers that you integrate with. If I wanted to use Bixby, is that an opportunity to actually integrate that platform into our business?
Absolutely. So I think, what we've found is that while multifamily is our focus, there are plenty of folks who own multiple asset classes, right?
Yeah.
And the ecosystem is often similar enough that Bixby can be sort of utilized efficiently across an entire portfolio. And so in an office setting, for instance, there are still maintenance requests that need to be fulfilled. There's still rent that needs to be paid. And frankly, these days, the big sort of question in office is how do we amenitize this space and make it more attractive? And Bixby can be helpful for that. If you have a cafeteria, for instance, folks can order food and pay through Bixby, go pick it up. So there are certainly some advantages there. In the scenario you just mentioned, absolutely. I know that we have a couple of mobile home parks that are currently on the platform. So it's absolutely an opportunity. It's really a matter of where you see the efficiencies lying for you on the management end. And if you think those amenities that we can offer can help differentiate the experience for your residents, keep them there longer. You mentioned retention, but also attract new ones.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's very interesting. Maybe you can, just so we can gain some color, to the service that you guys provide there with Bixby, give us a couple of real world examples of how Bixby has played out with a couple of your existing clients and ultimately the benefits that they've gained from utilizing your service.
Sure. So I brought up Empire Management. One of our co-founders was taking over property management there. And I think the really sort of the major needs for them were a way to make their operations more efficient and hopefully save money along the way. Mm-hmm. And so kind of the two major ways that we were able to do that was, first, we were able to reduce phone calls by about 50%. So folks were going through the app, and it allowed their management teams just to be more organized. Everything's in one place instead of it coming in via phone, having someone input it into Excel, make another phone call. Mm-hmm. So it comes into the app, they assign it to somebody, and they permanently have a record of it. So they can always go back to see those maintenance requests. And in addition, over the sort of 12-month period that ended December 31st, 2017, they processed about $5 million in rent payments and saved about $5,500 monthly just in efficiencies generated in a few different ways. So especially when you have that kind of scale, it can start to add up in a big, big way.
$5,500 monthly, huh? And give me an idea of how large that community or that holding was. Was that one community that we're talking about, one multifamily community, or was that a portfolio?
So that was across about 2,000 units that we were released in New York.
Wow. I mean, capitalized, that's a significant amount of additional value added to that bottom line. I mean, assuming that those units were to be put on the market and sold, you're probably talking $1 million plus of additional value that was added just from that savings alone. That's powerful.
Yep.
Very, very powerful. Any other stories? I know there was another one that we had talked about a little bit before the show, maybe of a smaller scale user, or was that the one that you just gave there?
So the other example I was going to give. So what I would say is we're in about 30,000 units currently, but we're in 2,000 buildings. So the average building size is 15 units. So we have a lot of do-it-yourself folks who have signed up. And one of the reasons that is if you're a personal investor under 20 units, Bixby's free to use. So you can simply sign up and use it. So the other example that I was going to give you, though, was a building called Tava Waters out in Denver, which is actually brand new construction, Class A, 1,000-unit building. Mm-hmm. And, they already had some software that helped with the efficiency pieces. Where Bixby really helped them differentiate was with amenity reservations, was with making sure that the amenities they were offering, between a rock climbing wall, fitness classes, they have like on site, they have 4 restaurants. Wow. Folks can order directly through the app to get access to those restaurants. So it was able to differentiate the experience in kind of a different way. And it kind of, as I alluded to before, the idea behind Bixby is really that we should be able to serve, especially in the multifamily space, all asset classes and help in some way.
That's awesome. And so I'm glad you brought up the point about like your average user size is about 15 units, but yet you're also dealing with some institutional clients as well. So this is really meant for everybody. I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have to own a certain number of units. You don't have to be a big time investor that's got thousands of doors underneath ownership or management. I mean, if you've got a 12 unit building, this could ultimately be a great resource for you, correct?
Absolutely. And I think, for sort of personal investors, I think it could really help from an operational perspective. When you get up to those larger players and those institutional investors, especially in the Class A space, one way that I would like to mention that we also can help differentiate is we build white label apps. So there's an additional setup fee, but it's not too substantial. And so you can sort of match the branding of your building with the app. And as you're leasing up, you can market it and say, hey, listen, so we also come with this great app named as our building, and it's in the App Store as their building name, that's going to help you get access to local services. It's going to allow you to easily communicate with your manager, submit a maintenance request, pay your rent. Should help make your life at this building a little easier.
That's wonderful. Talk to me about the pricing itself. I know you said below 20 doors or 20 users, it's free.
Below 20 users, it's free. Above 20. So, and the reason we do that is that folks can simply sign up. The platform is very easy to use. There tends not to be a ton of support required. As sort of portfolios get a little bit bigger, there tends to be more support on our side. So we have a $100 minimum per month above 20 units, but everything above that is $1 per unit per month.
Okay.
Flat fee. There's no setup cost. That's what we charge.
Very affordable. What else haven't we talked about here today, Derek, that you feel is relevant for our listeners to know about Bixby?
Sure. So I think, I think we covered the major things. Depending on what you're looking for, I think Bixby can be helpful. I think it can be helpful as an operational tool to make sure that you are more efficient. And I think that it can really be a major differentiator for your residents' experience in your building. Help with retention and potentially help with attraction as well. A couple of the features that we haven't touched upon that may help with those types of things. For instance, at a doorman building, we have a logbook feature. We have a visitor check-in feature so that if you would like to know exactly who is at the property at any time, you can ensure that you do. In addition, we have a marketplace feature so that folks can kind of buy and sell. Say you're moving out of your apartment, you have a couch that you're not bringing with you, you want to sell, you can sell it to the other residents. We have on-demand concierge. I mean, we've thought of as much as we possibly could. And one thing that I would mention is that everything we've built has been at the request of a client. So we work very closely with the folks that are on Bixby to make sure that their experience is as good as it can possibly be, and take very seriously their ideas. We like to say, listen, we're building the technology to make you the best property manager you can be, and you're helping us do that. You're helping teach us property management. So we have a team of developers. I'm the only non-technical guy on the team. So we've got a team of folks who are dedicated to making sure Bixby's as good as it can be, and we work very closely with our clients to do that.
What would you say are some of the more widely adopted features that your service offers? So, for example, you said the average user has 15 units underneath management. In those smaller types of buildings, I mean, normal services provided to these residents wouldn't be dry cleaning, wouldn't be housekeeping services or things of that nature. But so talk to me a little bit about, like, those are huge added benefits, right? Things that offer the smaller operators a massive bandwidth that they ultimately didn't have prior to this app. Talk to me about the most widely adopted ancillary services. So, like, which ones are residents it's like going crazy over and they absolutely love it and they're using it all the time?
Sure. And so it does vary by region. We have, sure. But what I would say is that the big ones for us, moving and storage, are huge. And the reason they're huge is that, at the move-in event, the person who is the leasing agent or whoever is kind of walking them through that process hands them a flyer that says, hey, this building runs on Bixby. You can use Bixby for your move-in. And one of the reasons that is such a major sort of benefit for us is that our model is set up such that we make $1 per unit per month as a platform fee, but we also make affiliate commissions on any of the services that are provided. So with something like a move-in, say the move's $1,000, we're going to make 15% of that, so $150. And I would like to mention, for any owners or managers who are interested in this, we do actually have a second pricing tier at $3 per unit per month, where we split that revenue 50-50. And so if you have someone move in for $1,000, you're looking at $75 right there. That's going to pay for a couple of years worth of Bixby in the platform. And every other service that they order is gravy. It's icing on the cake. So what we are looking to do moving forward more consistently is be a revenue driver for owners rather than a cost center.
Got it. I love it. Absolutely love it. Gosh, I had another question I wanted to ask you, and it just slipped my mind as you were talking. Darn it, because it was a good one too. So I'll have to try to remember here in the next minute or so, or else we're going to miss out on it. What markets are you currently serving? Are there any markets that you're not in today?
So what I would say about that is that we are nationwide. And Kevin, I'm happy to send over a deck so that folks can kind of, if they wanted to click on a link or something like that.
Yeah, if you could, and then we'll put it in our show notes. Please do.
Okay, perfect. And there's a map in there that shows you where we are. About 2/3 of our units are still in New York, because that's where we're based. And so that's sort of where we've had the most traction. But we're growing. The goal this year is really to have a presence in every major city in the country. And so what that's been is sort of me flying around to events all over the place. So in the past few months, I've been to San Diego, LA, Boston, DC. I've been down in Florida as well a couple of times. So all over the place. And also, if you have international listeners, we're talking to folks in Toronto, we're talking to folks in the UK. So really, the English-speaking world is kind of our target right now. As a software company, you can make sure that you can kind of scale to those places pretty quickly.
Got it. But if someone came to you with a portfolio in a secondary market, not one of the primary markets across the country, I mean, is there an opportunity to adopt your service in those secondary markets if the size of their holdings is large enough? And if so, what would that ideal sizing look like?
Interesting. Okay. So what I would say is that anyone in any secondary, tertiary market, if you're looking for Bixby from an operational perspective, I think we can absolutely help. Okay. From the services side of things, we've partnered with a lot of national and regional aggregators. Mm-hmm. So for dry cleaning, say somebody like Cleanly, for alcohol delivery, somebody like Drizzly, that cover most markets. And so out of the box, Bixby's going to have coverage of a lot of those services. What we then do is, especially once we start to have kind of scale in an area, we've got a partnerships team that will go out and make local business partnerships. And we love that for two reasons. We love it because it helps stimulate the local economy. The local vendors love it. They're paying us a small commission, but they have all of these buildings that are being directed to them, all these residents. And also, because what's great about it is that the entire user experience is in-app. So instead of going out to the Drizzly app or something like that, you can pay for it, order it all through Bixby. And so once we reach scale in a certain region, we will send out that partnerships team and make as many local partners as possible. But really, if we sign a big enough building and really for any of our users, if they were to send us a lead to a local dry cleaner they think is great for their building, we'd get them up and running in the platform in no time. It's really a simple form, and it's all based on zip code. So it would be a pretty easy process. So when folks sign up, they should remember that if they have local businesses that they would like to recommend to us, that is something that's always welcome. That really helps out.
Got it. That's awesome. Derek, how can we learn more about you and Bixby? What's the best website and best place to find you?
Absolutely. And so I'll make sure that this is in the show notes as well. But livebixby.co is our website. You can go there. You can schedule a demo with me. It's very simple. And if you'd like to just email me directly, it's Derek, DEREK, at livebixby, LIVEBIXBY.co. Anybody interested in learning more, feel free to reach out. That'd be fantastic. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, I know, which I'm sure we'll put in the show notes for you. Yep. So I'm not 100% sure what the handles are.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that sounds great, Derek. Really appreciate you coming on the show, and thank you for sharing all the great information about Bixby.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me, Kevin. This has been great.
Congratulations! Now you've got more of the best tricks of the trade in building massive amounts of passive income from real estate. For more amazing resources, visit realestateinvestingforcashflow.com, and we'll see you next Monday morning.